Do you love your partner dearly but get triggered around them more than anything? Do you feel unseen and unheard, especially during conflicts? And do you tend to bring out past a lot to the extent that it doesn't serve you and make the conflict worse? If you said yes to any of these, this video is for you. Hi, I am Kashika Gulati, a counseling psychologist, and in this video, you'll learn these three things. One, be more aware of your triggers and help your partner be aware of their triggers so that you can move towards healing together. Second, how to communicate in a way that you feel seen and heard. Yes, it's a lot about how the other person receives you and perceives you, but then it's a lot about how you also communicate and express yourself. And third is how to listen and be more understanding of your partner. So just knowing how to communicate better won't do it for you. Till the time you don't know the basic of communication, that is active listening. You'll learn these three things only and only if you follow these four things that I'm going to talk to you about. Follow doesn't mean listening to me at the moment, but really implementing these things. Coming on to the four factors that will help you build a stronger relationship. The first one is don't talk in the heat of the moment. You know how every time you talk, immediately when something happens, the conversations do not go well at all. So the best thing to do is take a time out. Time out is a strategy that helps you to feel calmer. Take some time to yourself before you express what you felt bad about, what it is that can be done better, what it is that you need to reflect on. You know how when we are very, very hurt and disappointed, we usually say things like, you hurt me, you always do this, you always do that, and say the most painful of things to the other person only to regret them later. But the idea is to take that time with yourself and understand, are some of the things that you feel really bad about, are they your own triggers coming from your past experiences or something that you may have been through? Is it something that you need to take responsibility of, but you are projecting that in your relationship? Or is there something that you'd like your partner to do better just so things go well between the two of you? But every time you tell that to them, it just doesn't go well. Well, you know what? The way you express that makes all the difference. Just like you were to sit with a friend of yours and tell them, coming from a place of purity and truth, you tell them what hurts you and what you'd like to do better, there are better chances of feeling heard and seen. Because with our friends, we may not feel as triggered as we do in our relationships. Because in a romantic relationship, our triggers tend to come on the surface the most. Because our childhood, our parents' relationship, all of that gets reflected in our own romantic relationship. And imagine two people coming with their own histories and their own past and bringing that together in a relationship. So it is more intense. So you need to handle it with more care, with more love. And usually it's not love that's absent, but it's the way you express, the way you communicate, and the way you listen that makes all the difference. So make sure that you sit with yourself and give yourself the opportunity to think of it from a place of objectivity. If this same situation were to happen with a friend of yours, what advice would you give them? How would you tell your close friend to talk to their partner? What kind of words do you think they should choose? If they were to come and tell you that, I hated this thing about my partner and I told them so and so way, maybe you'll come up with a suggestion that had you told this to them in a different way, they would have been more receptive to it. So it's the very same thing that you have to do, but it will only happen if you give yourself that time to understand your needs better, to understand if there are any triggers, and if you are maybe unconsciously expecting your partner to take responsibility of your triggers. And then once you are able to do that, once you talk to them maybe after 4 hours or maybe the next day or after some days, just make sure that when you communicate from a place of love and not from the place of anger, disappointment. I'm not saying that don't acknowledge those feelings, but talk to them like you are talking to someone you really love. Because in the spirit of conflict, we sort of at times forget that, we are talking to someone we love dearly and we end up using the worst of words. So while communicating, tell them what it is that you realized, that you sat with yourself and these are the things you realized. If there's anything that you realized about yourself that you could have done better, trust me, there's nothing that your partner would appreciate more, because once you are able to go to them telling them that, these are the things that I feel I could have done better, and these are the things that I would have liked you to do better, they'll be more receptive. Because of course, whenever a fight happens, it's not just one person who is at fault. You may have done something, even if a percentage of it. And if you are able to realize that and go with that realization to your partner, they'll be more receptive. If they are just 2% receptive to you, they'll be 3%, and that's progress. Don't expect that the progress will be to a 90% or to an 80% straight away, but it will happen slowly and gradually, and these things will reflect in your relationship in some time. Give it some time. The second thing that you got to take care of is that don't bring up past. Imagine if in your childhood you were to not do your homework once and your teacher punished you every single day for that. Won't feel fair, right? That's exactly what happens when people bring up the past time and again and hold that against their partner. Because if I made a mistake once, I get to work on it, and if I'm suffering for it, if I'm feeling guilty about it, I don't have to feel guilty about it all my life. Once I take the measures to correct it, I have done my part of making a mistake and working on it. But if I have to hear it every single time that I made a mistake once, and I have to feel guilty about it, take responsibility of it, and just hear about it every single time with bitterness, I won't even want to work on that mistake, because any effort that I may have made to correcting that mistake has not been acknowledged, has not been appreciated. So every time you bring up your past, it is only making things worse for you, because you are not letting things go. You are holding things up against your partner for something that may have happened years or months or I don't know how long ago. And if it is unaddressed, if it is something that you want your partner to still work on, it has not been resolved, it's a different thing. Even then, the way you communicate it, even then when you realize what your triggers are, what you would like it to be better, at times you are saying help, 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 and the other person doesn't know how to help you. You have to tell them how you want to be helped. You have to tell them what it is that works for you better, rather than going with the assumptions or going with the expectation that they'll read your mind. I just assume that my partner would know that I want him to be there for my football game because I love that. No, that's not how it works. I want to tell them that, I'd really appreciate if you were to show up for my game, even if we do not spend time together. That's what it is about. You don't expect them to read your mind or go with assumptions. You tell them, you clearly communicate to them what it is that you like, what it is that you want. And if they still do not do it, then it is up for discussion. Then you can explore other ways to communicate this to them and make a decision of whether you guys are a good match or not. Another thing is constructive feedback over criticism. So imagine you were to do some work and your teacher would just encircle things in red pen and just give you a lot of remarks telling that this could have been better, this could have been better, you did not do this right. How would it make you feel? I mean, I remember that anything written with that red pen used to bother me and irritate me so much. Imagine you are doing the same thing when you tell your partner, you did this wrong, you always do this wrong, you never take care of me, you never love me. When in reality, there are things that they are doing right as well. There are things that they can do better, of course, always. But it's all about telling them that, I feel that this thing has gotten better. It's not like I feel that you do not love me. It's just that I feel that you could love me in a way that I receive love. When you give me a gift every time you feel love for me, I'd love for you to just come and tell me I love you or I'm there for you. So you need to understand what it is that you want. And when you tell them the things that are going right and the things that can go better. And same about you. You can ask them, like, these are the things that I'm trying to consciously work on, but do let me know if there's something that you want me to do better. It won't happen in the first conversation. This will happen with more awareness. This will happen with you sitting with yourself, with your feelings, trying to understand where some trigger is coming from. Everyone has triggers, and that's not an issue. Honestly, being aware of that trigger helps you only in your journey of healing. So try to understand yourself better. And when you understand yourself better, once you are more aware of yourself, any and every relationship of yours will get better. The fourth thing that you need to take care of is Don't interrupt them while they are explaining themselves. This is the worst thing that we can do as listeners, and the worst thing that they can do when they listen to us. You know how you feel unseen and unheard right when they cut you in the middle just to justify them. And yes, we have that urge, I did not mean it like that. Just when your partner is saying something, you feel so offended in the moment, so angry in the moment, that you just want to cut them and tell them, no, that's not how it was. Give them the opportunity to express themselves, even if you feel that they did not take it right, even if you feel that they misunderstood you. They still have the right to tell you what it is that they felt was not good, was good, or whatever it is. Your responsibility as a listener is to give them the space, hold that space for them where they feel safe enough. Once you give them their space to talk to you about what they liked, what they disliked, they'll be interested in listening to you as well. They'll be more receptive to you when you say something. So everything in communication starts with listening. If you are an active listener, if you are really listening to them with love and understanding, they will eventually reciprocate that. And even if they do not, you can communicate that. And even if that doesn't happen, it will only help you understand your decision, whether you want to be with this person or not. This video is not about helping you realize whether your partner is right for you. It's only for you to make your conflict resolution better, make your communication better, express your truth with love and clarity, and understand and listen to them with the utmost love. And you know how that will happen? Only and only if you give yourself the time to think about it. In the heat of moment, nothing will go right. And I'm very sure you've experienced that. Maybe it will take days. Maybe one person needs to talk about it immediately and the other person takes time. Yes, it is uncomfortable to give the other person time when you want to talk about it immediately, but holding yourself and managing your emotions is another skill that you need to build for that. Giving yourself the space and your partner the space is very, very important. Let me know in the comments below what works for you the best, and I'll be more than happy to know that. Thank you for listening.